Hi, my name is Desiree Garbin, and I am the general manager of Della's Kitchen in Delano, Las Vegas. But previous to management, I was a bartender for about 8 years. So today I am going to teach you how to make a margarita. Making a margarita starts with your tequila choice. That's going to be the base liquor in your cocktail. So does it matter what type of tequila you use? And it does. Generally, you're going to use a silver or a blanco tequila in your margaritas. And silver tequilas are going to be unaged. They're going to have the least complex flavors of tequilas, and that's what makes it go really well and balance the flavors in a margarita. If you want to go with something a little bit more robust, you would go with a reposado tequila, which is going to be kind of a golden colored tequila, which is aged from 2 months to a year. Or if you want something really robust and a little bit different, you're going to go with an añejo or a joven margarita. Epicurious.com says, when looking up the 7 best types of tequila to use in a margarita, for a classic margarita, we're just going to use Patron Silver. The next part of a tequila is obviously going to be the mixer. So you can buy store-bought mixers. Obviously, I have a couple of kind of fun flavored mixers in the house. But for a classic margarita and really something that's just more refreshing, we're just going to use fresh limes and squeeze fresh limes into our margarita today. The fresh lime juice really maintains a proper balance of the sweetness that's already going to be in your agave-based tequilas. Next step of a margarita, obviously choosing the correct glassware, and salt or no salt. That's really a lot of personal preference, but for a really classic margarita, we're going to do a salted rim, and I just have a bowl of just classic rock salt. You can also go outside the box of margarita mixing and do a blend of salts. You can do like a rosemary infused, or you can get different herbs and spices and mix those together for your salt rim, and that really creates a more creative cocktail as well. So we're going to get started on making it. So proper mixing and serving. Obviously, I have all my tools ready to go, and it's really important to have lots of ice on hand because you're going to be using ice in your shaker and then also fresh ice in your glass. So we're going to use a recipe from eater.com that's very, very simple. It's just going to be 1.5 ounces of silver tequila, 1 ounce of triple sec, and I just have super generic, just plain triple sec, 2 limes, give or take. We're really going to look and see how much we have in our shaker, and then really just going to shake, strain, and pour it into our glass. So starting with the limes, I'm actually going to get a wedge. So when you're rimming your glass, you really just want to rim the outside of the glass because you don't want salt falling all the way inside your glass, so you don't want to get it inside really on top too much. And again, salt's important to be on the outside of the glass for the flavor, but you don't want it inside your glass because that's going to change your cocktail recipe. So shake it off a little bit. Okay. And fill this up with ice now. And it's important to have fresh ice in your glass than what you're actually using in your tin because it changes the volume of water in your cocktail. So start with your glass and 1.5 ounces. If you don't have a jigger for your home cocktails, I would recommend it just because most recipes, it really does change the balance, 1/2 ounce, give or take on either side. So really important if you want to start making cocktails at home. Start triple sec. And then fresh lime. One whole lime for this recipe. If you have some really fresh limes and you're going to get a lot of juice out of them, is going to be sufficient. since we live in Las Vegas, these limes are not very fresh. So we're not getting as much juice out of them. As you can tell from me trying to squeeze this. Should be good. Now I'm going to get my tin, fill it up with ice. We talked about the volume of water in a cocktail recipe. It's really important to get a good shake on it because you want to dilute down. Obviously, you saw how much liquid was in that glass. It's not going to fill this glass. So you want to dilute it down with ice, and that's what is going to give you a more balanced cocktail. You know your cocktail is going to be ready when, if you have your shaker, it starts to get a little bit of moisture on the outside. And we're going to get our strainer. And I use just a single strainer. You can also do a mesh strainer as well if you don't want any of that fresh lime pulp in your drink. But I think it adds a nice texture to the cocktail. So there's our margarita. And for garnish, you can either do another lime wedge on the side. I think it's pretty. Cut some lime wheels to put lime wheel right on top. And that's how you make a margarita.